interactions across culture are common, whether in business, education, or personal life. Cultural frameworks like value orientation and Hofstede's dimension help us understand and navigate these differences effectively. So, cultural and values orientations. Cultural and values orientation refer to the collective beliefs, practices, and attitudes and values that define a group, society, or community. Culture provides the overall framework for humans to organize their thoughts, emotions, values, symbols, beliefs, and the process that are learned and shared by a group of people and transmitted from generation to generation. Cultural orientation refers to how individuals and groups perceive their cultural content and how this perception influence behaviors, while values orientation is about the principles and standards that guide behavior in a society. So next is Hofstede cultural dimension. Gerd Hofstede is a social psychologist known for his work in cultural and cross-cultural communication. His cultural dimension theory helps us in understanding how cultures differ and how these differences can impact behavior in various contexts. So, the 6 dimensions of Hofstede's cultural dimension. First, we have power distance, individualism versus collectivism, masculinity and femininity, uncertainty avoidance, long-term versus short-term orientation, and indulgence versus restraint. So, first is the power distance. This dimension measures how much less powerful members of a society expect and accept that power is distributed unequally. So, the degree to which less powerful members of society accept unequal power distribution. Power distance is divided into 2, which are the high power distance and the low power distance. So in high power distance, example, in India and Malaysia, hierarchical structure are respected, while in low power distance, for example, in Denmark and Netherlands, equality and participation are emphasized. So, next is the individualism versus collectivism. This dimension assesses whether a culture prioritizes individual goals over group goals. So, this is the extent to which individuals prioritize personal goals over group goals. So, individualism is a personal goals and collectivism is a group goals. So, individualist culture emphasizes personal achievements and autonomy. Example in US and Australia. Next is the collectivist cultures focus on group harmony and loyalty. For example, in Japan and Mexico. So, in individualist culture, career choices are often personal decisions, while in collectivist culture, family input plays a significant role. Next is the masculinity and femininity. This dimension looks at the distribution of rules between genders, where masculinity is associated with competitiveness and assertiveness, and femininity is associated with care and quality of life. So, this is the degree to which cultures value traditional masculine traits, example, competitiveness, versus feminine traits, which is, for example, nurturing. A masculine culture might celebrate competitive sports and business achievements, while a feminine culture emphasizes work-life balance. Next is uncertainty avoidance. This dimension reflects the extent to which members of a culture feel uncomfortable with uncertainty and ambiguity. So, this is comfort with ambiguity. The definition of this is the level of comfort with ambiguity in unstructured situations. For example, in high uncertainty avoidance, these prefer clear rules and stability. For example, in Greece and Russia. While low uncertainty avoidance are more comfortable with risk and innovation. For example, in Singapore and UK. So cultures with high uncertainty avoidance while those with low avoidance embrace experimentation. The second to the last is the long-term versus short-term orientation. This dimension focuses on the degree to which a culture values long-term commitments and respect for tradition versus short-term benefits and immediate results. The focus on future planning versus present concerns. So this is all about the long-term and short-term orientation. So long-term orientation value perseverance and thrift, like example in China and South Korea, while short-term orientation focus on traditions and immediate results, like in US and Philippines. So long-term oriented cultures emphasize saving for the future, while short-term oriented cultures prioritize quick rewards. The last is indulgence versus restraint. This dimension measures the degree to which societies allow free gratification of basic and natural human desires related to enjoying life and having fun. The degree to which societies allow gratification of desires versus controlling them through strict norms. So in indulgent cultures, focus on enjoyment and freedom, like example in Mexico and US, while in restrained cultures emphasize self-discipline and regulation, like in Russia and India. So for example, indulgent cultures might have more leisure activities, while restrained culture prioritize work and duty. So that is all about the cultural and values orientation and Hofstede cultural dimension, which is the 6 dimensions. So my co-reporters will further discuss more info about our topic.
So now I'm going to report about Paul's high and low context culture. So Paul's model in year 1976 looks at how people from different cultures behave and communicate differently according to the different contexts, which is high context and low context culture. So Paul believed that culture is communication and communication is culture. So central to the model are the concepts of high context and low context culture. So the high and low context cultures and this concept refers to how important conceptual cues are in interpreting a message. So first, we will start with high context culture. So high context culture rely on body language, tone, and context for communication. So these cultures typically first rely more on non-verbal aspects communicate meaning. So it means that they rely on non-verbal communication, like the way you use your facial expressions and your body language. Second, high context culture is prepared implicit or an indirect communication, which means that they communicate indirectly and they are not being straightforward. So third, high context culture usually considers situational factors more important than what is actually being said. So when people value situational factors over words, they often find situational factors more important than the words themselves. So example, the way you are using the tone of your voice. So the tone of your voice can change the meaning of a message. So for example, a friendly tone can make criticisms of you. So next. A friendly tone can make criticism softer, while a harsh tone can make neutral words seem negative. So for it, we have value relational trust as more important than the specified content. So in here, so next, we have the value relational trust as more important than the specific or specified content. So in here, they prioritize trust in relationships over the specific details over what is actually being topic or what is the topic all about, because we prioritize more on the trust within the relationship. So next is high context cultures consider in-group membership and we-talk membership towards building relational closeness. High context culture consider in-group membership and value in-group membership. People will feel that they belong to the group with shared interests, they belong to the group without being out of place. And being part of the group makes people feel connected and trusted. And the use of we talk, so using words like we talk, like for example, we, us, and our to show unity. So for example, saying we should solve this problem instead of you should solve this problem. So inclusive language makes people feel they are part of the group. To low context culture. So low context culture uses explicit and direct communication. So these cultures typically first rely on the spoken or written word to communicate meaning, which means that involving the use of language either orally or in written form to convey ideas, convey emotions, to give instructions, and to convey information like So I heard a sayings that goes, say what you mean and mean what you say. So next, let's proceed to the second, which is low context cultures prepare explicit formulations and rules direct sometimes from speech. So preparing explicit formulations and rules preparing explicit formulations and rules along with direct and sometimes prompt speech means prioritizing clarity and precision, also the straightforwardness and the communication. So next is low context culture usually aim at efficiency, concise use of words, and elaboration of unclear meanings. So they focus on being efficient, on using few words and clarifying any unclear meanings to be easily understand or to easily understand the communication. So next, the low context cultures value being articulate and clear. So valuing being articulate and clear means prioritizing communication that is easy to understand and free from ambiguity, which means that the low context cultures value more on being clear in the communication, and they prevent on using words that has second or more interpretations. So next, we will move on to Clarkson and Stradwick's value orientations. So Florence Clarkson and Fred Stradwick developed the value orientations theory at Harvard University in the year 1961. So they represent one of the earliest efforts to develop a cross-cultural theory of the values. So Clarkson and Stradwick also assumes that all people everywhere and through the ages have to overcome a number of problems or universal dilemmas in order to survive. Clarkson and Stradwick also proposes that all human societies must answer a limited number of universal problems, which means that the value-based solutions are few and widely known, but different cultures prefer different ones. So according to Clarkson and Stradwick in year 1961, that every culture faces the same basic survival needs and must answer the same universal questions. So we have here the value orientations. First, we have man-to-nature orientation. In man-to-nature orientation, there are three parts, which is the mastery, the harmony, and the subjugation. So first, in the mastery, it is the belief that people has a need or responsibility to control nature, which means that this belief is about using and managing nature to benefit us humans, or this belief is about using and managing nature to benefit humans. Next, we have here the harmony. In harmony, it is the belief that people should work with nature to maintain harmony or balance. So it means living in a way that supports the health and well-being of the nature or of the planet, and ensuring that nature can thrive alongside us humans for the better development of both. So next we have the subjugation. Subjugation is the belief that individuals must submit to nature. So it's about understanding that as humans balance with it rather than trying to overpower it. So second, value orientation, we have relational orientation. Relational orientation is the beliefs about social structures or how people relate to each other. So we have here individualism, collectivism, and hierarchical. So first, the individualism. So individualism, it is the belief that social structure should be arranged based on individuals. So this belief emphasizes the importance of treating each other or treating each person as unique and valuable, ensuring that social system support individual growth and development and also the freedom. Next is collectivism. So the collectivism is the belief that social structure should be based on groups of individuals with relatively equal status. So this belief promotes a society where everyone has an equal rights or has an equal chance to succeed and to contribute, fostering a sense of unity and fairness. So next we have the hierarchical. So it is the belief that social structure should be based on groups with clear and rigid hierarchical relationships. So this belief emphasizes a structured and orderly society where everyone knows their place and follows the established rules and the authority. So next, the time orientation. So in time orientation, it is the belief which extends to which past, present, and future influence decisions. So in past, in making decisions, people are principally influenced by past events or tradition. So this belief emphasizes learning from history or learning from the past happening or learning from the past experiences and maintaining cultural continuity by following established practices. So next we have the present. So in making decisions, people are principally influenced by the present circumstances. So it means that they focus on the current situation and also the adaptability to fit the current context and conditions rather than the past experiences or the future possibilities. So in future, in making decisions, people are principally influenced by future prospects. So it means that they focus on the potential outcomes and the benefits that their choices might bring in the future. Next, we have activity orientation. So in activity orientation, it is the beliefs about appropriate goals. So first, being. So in being, believe that people should concentrate on living for the moment. So it means focusing on the present and enjoying life as it happens rather than worrying about the past or the future. So second, we have the becoming. So in becoming is the belief that people should strive to develop oneself into an integrated whole, which means that it's about becoming the best version of yourself in all areas of your life and creating a harmonious and complex self. So next we have the belief on striving for goals and accomplishments. So this belief focuses on the importance of having clear goals and working diligently to achieve them, leading to personal growth and fulfillment. Next, we have human to nature orientation. Earlier, we discussed about the man to nature orientation, and now we'll proceed to human to nature orientation. So it is the beliefs about evil, good, or neutral human nature. So this dimension was not tested empirically. So first, you have individual. So it is the belief that people are inherently evil. So it suggests that humans are born with a natural tendency or neutral tendency towards bad behaviors, selfishness, or wrongdoing. Next, the good. It's the belief that people are inherently good, or it's the idea that as humans are naturally good-hearted and capable of positive character, and capable of positive good doings or positive life from birth since birth. So next we have the neutral. So it is the belief that people are inherently neutral, or people is evil and also is good, which matters in in the different situations. So this belief holds that humans are both this belief this belief holds that humans are born neutral and their actions shapes their character or shaped by their life experiences and surroundings. And sorry. And their actions shape their life experiences and their surroundings. So this orientation is a very part of their life and it is crucial for our development.
Okay, let's proceed to the Squart's cultural values. So, Shalom Squarts propose a framework to explain the fundamental values that influence cultural practices and behaviors. So, Shalom Squarts has three dimensions, cultural dimensions, and their orientations. So, first, we have the autonomy versus embeddedness. So the autonomy emphasizes individual freedom and self-expressions, while embeddedness stresses the importance of social relationships, traditions, and group identity. So, and the second one is we have the hierarchy and egalitarian. So hierarchy focus on maintaining social structures and authority hierarchy, while the egalitarianism promotes equality, social justice, and helping with others. And the third one is we have the mastery versus harmony. So the mastery is the prioritizes controlling and changing the world to meet human needs, while the harmony emphasizes living in balance with nature and with others. And let's move to the intercultural communications and ethics. So the study of how ethical considerations impact communications across cultural boundaries. So in the cultural boundaries, we have the 5 categories. And first, we have the cultural relativism versus universalism. So first is the culturalism is recognizes that the ethical standards are shaped cultural norms and practices should be understood under cultural context. So example is greeting with the bows shows respect in the Japan. So the people there are greeting with the bows, so it shows as respect. While the other is while shaking hands is the most common in the West. So and next is the universalisms advocates for universal ethical principles such as human rights regardless of cultural differences. Example, challenging practices like child labor universally. And the second one is we have the dialogical approach. So dialogical approach involves engaging in open dialogue to understand and respect cultural differences. Example given, high context in it talks about the negotiation between the high context and the low context in the Japan, while the low context is the US. And the third is the mutual respect. Ethical communication prioritizes respect for cultural differences and avoids imposing one's values on others. So example given. So a healthcare provider working in a multicultural environment. And the fourth one rather is the cultural sensitivity. So the cultural sensitivity is ethical intercultural communications requires awareness of cultural norms and avoiding offensive behavior. So example here is the understanding that discussing personal finances. And the last one in the key concept of the intercultural communication ethics is we have here the responsibility to minimize harm. So ethical communication considers the impact of messages to avoid harm or misinterpretations. So example given, the media or the media organizations ensuring culturally sensitive portrayals of minority groups. And that is all for my report, and thank you.